You know, we talk all the time about investing in stocks and companies and real estate. But what if the single most important investment you will ever make, the one that really unlocks everything else, has absolutely nothing to do with money? What if it's something way, way closer to home?
Just think about that for a second. We always think about the external barriers, right? The economy, the competition, not having enough capital, and those things are real. But what if the biggest roadblock, the one thing truly in your way, yeah, you, or more specifically, the unexamined parts of you, the old habits, the knee-jerk reactions, the emotional defaults that are running in the background of every single decision you make? And to really see how powerful this is, we're going to look at the story of one woman who faced this head on and how that one investment in herself completely changed the course of her entire life. And what's so wild about her story is that it doesn't start with some brilliant strategic move. Nope, it starts with a moment of total, embarrassing personal failure. So this is Emma Grede. Today, she is an absolute powerhouse in the fashion and business world. But to really understand how she got there, we have to rewind. We're going all the way back to when she was just 19 years old, long before any of the success, long before the billion-dollar brands. So picture this. Emma's 19. She's in a packed London tube station. She is running late. Her heart is just pounding out of her chest. And the only thing standing between her and the train she needs to catch is a woman at the turnstile who's kind of fumbling with her card. And in that moment, Emma just snaps. I mean, she is screaming, shouting, just completely overcome by this white-hot, uncontrollable rage. The woman turns to her and says just two words, "I'm deaf." That should have been it, right? A moment that stops you in your tracks, a moment for humility, for a deep, sincere apology. But that is not what happened. This was Emma's reply. And look, it's a shocking thing to hear, and it takes an incredible amount of guts for her to even share this story. But that's what she said. She pushed past the woman, and she got on the train. And then came the crash. The adrenaline vanished, and this wave of shame just washed over her. Sitting there on the train, literally with her head in her hands, she was forced to look at the person she had just been. And she had to ask herself this brutal, unflinching question. What is wrong with me? And that question, that was the real beginning. Because what she did next wasn't about building a business or a brand. It was about completely rebuilding herself. And this was the quiet, difficult, totally unglamorous work that would end up being the foundation for everything that came after. 3 years, I mean, think about that. That very night, she went and enrolled herself in a free anger management course. And she went every single week for 3 straight years. This wasn't some quick fix, a weekend seminar. This was a deep, long-term investment in herself. And what's so important here is that this inner work wasn't some vague, feel-good thing. It was real. It was practical. She learned that the point wasn't to stop feeling anger, because that's impossible, but to get skillful at how you express it. She dug deep into where that anger was coming from, family patterns. And she even made practical life changes, like quitting smoking weed, when she realized it was making things worse. And this, right here, is the key. Nobody was taking photos of this. This wasn't for Instagram. It was hard, private work done in some random room that nobody cared about. But this investment, this was the one that made every other investment, the ones everyone would see, even possible. Okay, so let's fast forward, because now I want to show you the actual tangible return on that 3-year investment. This is where all that inner work pays off in a huge way on the outside. I mean, this is the whole transformation. The 19-year-old on the Tube platform, her emotional default was rage. The new Emma, the one who had done all that work, now defaulted to something completely different. A calm, clear-eyed clarity. And believe me, that clarity was about to be worth millions of dollars. All right, so here's the situation. Emma is in the middle of brokering a massive deal between the luxury fashion brand Dior and the actress Natalie Portman. The Dior team shows up for the make-or-break meeting. But look at the problem. They're all decked out in leather. Leather shoes, leather belts. And their potential partner, Natalie Portman, she's a famously committed vegan. This is a disaster. This is a deal killer, right? Now the old Emma, the one from the tube station, she might have panicked. Maybe gotten angry, blamed someone for the oversight. But this new Emma, she paused. She took a breath. She observed the situation, and she saw the problem not as a crisis, but as an opportunity. She quietly excused herself, ran to a nearby store, and bought non-leather espadrilles for the entire Dior team to change into. Now, you might think, okay, it's just shoes. But it wasn't just shoes. It was everything. In that one small move, she showed that she understood, that she respected Natalie Portman's values. It completely saved the deal. And that one little action, born out of emotional intelligence, literally put her company on the map. It became the opening story in every pitch she gave for the next 2 years. So let's connect these two dots, the tube station and the Dior meeting, because they aren't two separate stories at all. They're the exact same story, just told 10 years apart. I mean, really think about it. The person who screamed at a deaf woman because she couldn't manage her own stress, there is no way that person could have bought the espadrilles. It's not about the money for the shoes. It's that she didn't have the emotional capacity to pause, to see what someone else needed, and to serve the relationship instead of just her own immediate reaction. This brings us to this incredible idea: the compound interest of self. It's such a powerful way to think about it. Every little bit of work you do on who you are, on your character, your emotional regulation, it doesn't just add up. It compounds. It expands what you are even capable of building in the outside world. The espadrilles were the direct ROI from that anger management course. So what does this actually mean for you and me? Well, Emma's story points to these 4 foundational investments. First, investing in your healing, dealing with your own version of that anger or fear. Second, investing in emotional intelligence. That's the skill that bought the espadrilles. Third, investing in your relationships, because burning bridges is never a good strategy. And finally, investing in just being radically honest with yourself about where you're at right now. Emma Grede has this perfect metaphor for all of this. She says the real work is about making sure that a grown-up, a regulated, self-aware, emotionally intelligent adult is always the one in the driver's seat, not the younger, unchecked, reactive part of you. And that's really the question for all of us, isn't it? Who's in the driver's seat of your life? Is it the version of you that has done the work, or is it someone else? Because as Emma's story shows us so clearly, the single greatest, most powerful investment you will ever make is in the person sitting right there in that driver's seat.